Well, speaking of relics from the 1980s,
Yes.
Daniel, you finally got to finish the fight.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So who is this gang of 40 somethings in the picture
Uh, well, I wanted to use a different image for the Stranger Things season 5 series finale. And it was I wanted to use Nancy Wheeler, who's like, I didn't mention this in the previous review, but she's this one of the girls who's like 5 foot nothing, weighs about 90 pounds, soaking wet, and they turned her into Rambo.
as they do?
Yeah, I mean, she even has Rambo's hairstyle. Um, but yeah, so pictured here from going from left to right, we got Nancy's brother Mike. Then we got Steve in the middle, and then in the back is Robin. She's the lesbian. And then on the far
I
right,
do like girls.
yes, I do like girl. And then on the far right's Jonathan Byers, who is Will Byers, the kid who came out of the closet in the last episode. That's his older brother. And I mentioned this, I've said this before. I will say it again. Too many characters in this show to keep track of. I can barely keep track of a lot of them, and the big reason for that is because they're like very homogenized. There's very little to keep them distinct.
That we in the business we call that a problem.
Yes. And I will say, you know, Steve and Dustin seem to be like those two are probably my favorite ones, and I still maintain they should have their own spinoff, but they're not getting their own spinoff because apparently they're not doing any, or they are doing a Stranger Things spinoff, but it's not going to be with any of the characters from the show. But yeah, so the series finale, we our plucky band of heroes decide to go to Vecna, the villain. They decide to go to his home world to defeat him once and for all, because they find out that the Upside Down is actually just a wormhole to go from Earth to this other planet. So they go up to this other planet, and they fight this giant spider, and Bush is the mind flare that Vecna's hooked up to along with the kids, and there's this big battle, and which, by the way, some people pointed out the final battle is shorter than Will's coming out scene.
You got to have your priorities.
I know, and but of course, so some spoilers here. Not that you probably guess they were successful. They defeat the bad guy.
The world isn't destroyed?
I know. And of course they succeed in that, but then they still have the military to contend with, and we've come to realize that Linda Hamilton's character, Dr. K, probably one of the most useful characters, or useless characters, in all of TV, because she really doesn't do anything. She's just there to, I don't know. They set her up to be this secondary villain, but she really doesn't do anything, and nothing really happens with the military.
It's kind of like how they wrote her off of Resident Alien in the last season.
Oh,
Use time travel.
Yes, yeah. Ninja says, so it's faster than Maduro's extraction. Yeah.
I believe that took 36 minutes. So
yeah.
So there are people who probably ordered Uber Eats when they went down to, or sat down to watch this episode, where it took less time than to extract a Central American dictator.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Latin American dictator, because on the North of South America, not in Central America.
Right. Yeah. So then they, of course, in the course of things, it appears as though 11 dies. our psychic girl, and she does this because she thinks that the military and everybody, they're never going to leave her alone, never leave any of the other people, and the rest of her friends and her family alone. So it appears as though she dies. And then we have this like 45-minute, like about half of the episode is the denouement, where it's like the aftermath of everything. And we flash forward, I think, like 18 months, where the kids are all graduating from high school. And strangely enough, Max, who's the red-haired girl, she graduates with them, even though she was in a coma for 2 years.
She made it up in summer school. That's
Oh yes, yeah. But then of course the show ends where it begins, where the kids are all down in Mike's basement playing, doing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, so it's, in the words of George Lucas, it's like poetry. They rhyme.
I did see jokes about like, what if the whole thing was just a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. It's like, what do you mean roll a saving check against coming out?
Yeah. But then of course Mike comes to the realization that 11 may have faked her death, and then you see her wandering off to some village in Norway with 3 waterfalls, because she and Mike talked about running away to a village with 3 waterfalls. And that's it. That's the end of the show. I mean, it's, any series finale for a TV show is going to be difficult to do, because no matter how long, depending on how long the show's been on, you've got like a whole lot of storylines and plot lines that you got to wrap up. And, some shows are able to pull it off, some aren't. I would say overall, this was kind of a disappointment, just because of the fact that there's still some kind of lingering questions, some plot holes that really weren't like explained very well, and you had there's just a lot of loose ends. Like I said, a lot of loose ends that were tied up.
Also sounded like there was an awful lot of fluff to the last season.
There was, yeah. I talked about that last week on the when I reviewed the middle 3 episodes. That like there was just all these freaking therapy sessions, and all the characters talking about their feelings, and it's just like, oh, okay, I need a 10-minute scene of Jonathan and Nancy breaking up, or a almost 7-minute scene of a 16-year-old kid coming out of the closet, like
that apparently took them 12 hours to film.
Yeah, it's just but yeah, I mean, judging from like how the show started and then how it ended, there was definitely a precipitous decline, which I've seen with a lot of streaming shows, where they'll have like a really strong first season, and then after that it just kind of starts to really fall off.
I mean, there's a level where it's very easy to come up with an interesting premise, but you don't always have an idea of where you're actually going with it.
Yeah, and it sounds like the Duffer Brothers really didn't have any idea where they were going to go with this. And they created this uber villain, this who's kind of like this Thanos level threat, and he turned out to be kind of a nothing burger. So
yeah. So as somebody who never watched more than the one episode of Stranger Things, is he? I kind of get Gozer from Ghostbusters vibes off of Vecna. Is that kind of fair comparison, or?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. That's a good comparison. Trying to think of another I can't really think of any other villain that would be a good comparison, but yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of just sounds like. So I haven't really heard from anybody who was really satisfied by the ending. Was it the worst thing ever, or just not terribly great?
It just wasn't terribly great. Yeah. Of course, I
So it wasn't like it was like a big slap in the face or anything. It was just you were whelmed.
right. Yeah, I was whelmed. Yeah, and of course, I didn't watch Game of Thrones, so I don't know. Like, I know that finale was really bad. I know there have been like other TV show finales that have been disappointing. Although I will say that this was better than the finale of Star Trek Enterprise.
In so much as it got a finale. Wait,
Well,
no,
yeah,
that's right. No, wait, no. Now I'm remembering that episode. Oh God, God, yes.
Yeah.
Where they made it about the Next Generation crew instead.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, it is what it is.
It do what it do.
Mm-hmm.